What I've got here is a new old stock bearing, and it's been on the shelf so long it's really started to dry out a little. So I've gone ahead and cleaned it in the solvent tank, given it quite a bit of time to dry. So I'm going to re-grease it, and how I do that is I have this little jar of grease here, and I just put it in boiling water until the grease softens up. I'm going to drop the bearing inside, at which point I'll put the top on the vacuum pump, and it will then pull all the air out. When I release pressure, it'll push new grease back inside the bearing. Works great. So you just got to get her down in there. Ooh, a little warm. And here we go. That is the air being drawn out of it. This can also be done with a brake bleed tool as well. It just so happens I only have the vacuum pump here. And I've seen it very successfully done with clean chainsaw bar oil, because that's nice and stringy. So just let her run, let her soak, let her suck. And there it is, all done. This, with the hot grease, only works with shielded, not sealed bearings. And I got away with it because this one is only sealed on one side. Shielded, not sealed. But it does work well. With sealed bearings, you simply use a light grade machine oil instead. Of course, it's impossible basically to clean out a sealed bearing without popping the seals, and I've had an okay success rate getting the seals out and back in decent shape. But the fact is, you drop the thing in some light machine oil, pull a vacuum on it. When you release the vacuum, that oil will be forced through the seal back into the bearing, and a lot of times that's enough. Clean or not, that's enough. But with the shielded bearings, I prefer to use the grease. You can see it's all in there. It doesn't roll on its own. Full of grease, nicely packed, and ready for installation. Even if you don't have a vacuum pump or a brake bleed pump, you can still do this. You take your grease, you warm it up, you drop your bearing inside, tap it so that your bearing is completely encapsulated in the grease. You want to get as much of the air out of it as you can. Then put the lid on and let it sit until it's cool. When you pop the lid, just like canning food, you will push that oil, you will push that grease into the bearing. It isn't nearly as effective, and you'll have to do it 4 or 5 times. But substitute the grease for a light machine oil, and it'll work fine. As it cools down, it'll pull a bit of a vacuum on the can. It'll pull out the air from inside that bearing. When you release the lid and let the air pressure back in, it'll push that oil right back inside. So you don't have to have a vacuum pump. You can do it with a canning jar.